Hey, hockey fans, welcome to the 7-Eleven Overtime Podcast. I'm your host, Gino Retta. You know, I've spent over 4 decades now working in the game of hockey, fortunate enough to meet some of the great legends of the game, saw them come into the league, watched them since as they shone in the league, and now they've moved on to life after the game. The 7-Eleven Overtime Podcast gives us a chance to catch up, tell some great stories, relive some great memories, and hear what they're up to today. Today's legend won the Art Ross Trophy, two-time Ted Lindsay Award winner as the player voted most valuable by the players themselves, 650-goal seasons, 8 100-point seasons, 6th on the NHL's all-time goal-scoring list, Hockey Hall of Famer, top 100 player of all time. I could go on and on. He is Marcel Dionne. Welcome, Marcel. I'm so looking forward to catching up with you, my friend.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. When I was asked if I could do a Zoom, they didn't tell me how tough it was to but you know what? You're a special person. I have enjoyed you over the years. Your voice, your understanding of sports. You present yourself really good. Different than what some of them are today. But if I hear it's you that's doing it, I would listen all the time.
Oh, Marcel, you're such a gentleman. You're such a gentleman. On behalf of hockey fans who got a chance to watch you, there are some great moments, and I want to talk about the miracle on Manchester, and I want to talk about, a lot of other things that have happened to you. The year you beat Gretzky for the scoring title, and I'm going to talk about all that. But I want to start with something that was really near and dear to me. Was the 72 Summit Series was great, but it wasn't best on best. It wasn't the absolute all the best players against all the best players, like the 1976 Canada Cup that you were involved in. I look back on that team that you were a critical part of: Lafleur, Clark, Hall, Esposito, Larry Robinson, yourself. In my mind, that's the greatest single collection of a Team Canada, possibly of a hockey team in hockey history. What do you recall of 76? Would you agree with that or disagree?
It's pretty good. Serge Savard did win a lot of Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
And he always went back to that. 72 was different because it was the unknown.
Yeah.
For me in 76, I was with all the winners. They won cups. I watched them, what their thinking was around the locker room. How did they talk? How does talk about your families, travel and this and that. And it was different. It was totally different than me started in Detroit. And you never witnessed that for 18 years.
Yeah.
That was it. It wasn't so much the cup.
You were never surrounded by that kind of talent. I mean, your line mates were Bobby Hull and Phil Esposito. Did you look around and go, hey, thank God, finally I got guys?
Well, it makes the game so much easier.
Yeah.
You understand where the puck's going to be. You understand what you have to do. It came down to Phil Esposito. It's a funny thing. So actually, I was playing at the training camp with Bobby Hull and Danny Gare. And I'm not kidding you. We were the best line. Bobby was incredible. One pass, boom, it was in the net. And Danny was a mucker, right? So Danny got hurt. And Phil, we had black sweaters, like the Black Aces.
Yeah.
Phil's along the boards, and he looks at the two of us. He says, guys, if I don't play with you, they're going to cut me. I said, what? No. So here's what happened. They shifted me to right wing. I never played right wing. They put me in right wing. Phil come at center with Bobby. So I said, Bobby says, how are we going to play? No, Phil said, how are we going to play? I said, well, I told Bobby, when you got the puck, he goes on the other side, because Bobby would go all over the ice.
Yeah.
Right? And I said, as soon as I see him leave, I go on this side. He said, oh, I like that, because he played with Ken Hodge and Brain Cashman, and they were basically up and down wingers, right? It was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal thing.
But that wasn't.
But here's what I got to tell you. Never played right wing. Never played right wing.
Yeah.
It's Bob Pulford. Now I'm naming people that I hope your audience know who they are. Bob Bulford was my coach in Los Angeles, and he coached the U.S. team.
Yep.
After I went home back to LA at training camp. You know what Bob Bulford did? We had too many centers. He put me at right wing. This could blow you away that you don't know and everybody doesn't know. Never played right wing. I played right wing all season. I scored over 50 goals.
Yep.
When he came down to selection of all-stars, watch this. It picked me as a center player. Shows you how much these people watch the game.
I know.
They couldn't figure. True story. I played right wing. I had 4 or 5 different centers. How tough is this? I don't think so. Now you tell my kid cannot play there, can't do this, can't do. Try him.
Give him a shot.
Play there.
So you guys win the gold in the Canada Cup in 76. You didn't win in 81, but you had a couple of line mates people recognize, Wayne Gretzky and Guy Lafleur. Was that the best line you ever played on?
Didn't have the time. Only played 8 games. You know what?
Yeah.
Just a whole year slowly. Let's go reverse. How long good lines stick together?
Yeah.
We call it Triple Crown line. Then you have the Espo line, right? Then you got the gag line. Then you got whatever, you name it.
Yeah.
The amazing thing with the Montreal Canadiens, like say in 1981, they had guys, Gino, they had guys been playing together for 8 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me, it was a revolving door.
Yeah.
We got something going, 6 new guys at camp. 6 it.
But the problem is, Marcel, guys couldn't play with you. That's the issue, because you were able to do stuff that other guys couldn't keep up with. Is that not fair?
No, that's not true.
Come on, Marcel. The hard part was your game was at a different level, and it was hard for teams to find guys that could play with you.
No, not true.
You're humble.
You. Okay. Dave Taylor or Charlie Simmer. Let's say Charlie Simmer, right?
Yeah. The Triple Crown line.
He hurt. These guys would get hurt. They were muckers.
Yep.
Taylor's hurt. Dave Taylor's out for 2 weeks. Guess what? In the morning, guys are coming in. I watch it. I'm sitting there. Guys come in. Then you look on the wall. Oh, what's going on there? The guy sees his name. You moved up right wing with Marcel. As soon as the player, this is true story, it happened many times. That player playing on the 3rd line or 4th line, suddenly his team preparation was not the same. And that's what he was. Now he knew, whoa, that he was going to touch the puck.
Yeah.
He had chances to score. He could play the power play. It was a different thing.
Yeah.
It just happened. I have different guys that can tell you this.
Yeah.
Start 1 goal, 2 assists, 2 goals, 3 assists for a week. Now this guy, oh wow, it's different. He's serious.
Well, sure, they feel like they won the lottery. They get to play with you. They knew they were going to score.
Well, here's what happened, and that's the biggest thing about my career. What I witnessed. Now the player comes back. Now he goes back.
Yeah.
His line, and guess what? It's over. You're right. And you know why? Because these people that were coaches and general managers, they were not bad people. They were not bad people. They just couldn't figure out how do you get the most out of players?
Yeah.
Now watch the game still. Some guys never touch the puck.
Yeah.
McDavid probably touches 5,000 times and wins.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what though, and there's a lot of comparisons there between what McDavid is doing now and what you did back then, because people are constantly looking at McDavid and saying the poor guy, he's scoring points, he's scoring like you put in a crap load of points and a crap load of goals, and we'll get to that. but you couldn't win because they couldn't build a team around you strong enough to win. And people are like, how much longer is McDavid going to put up with this before he says, I want to get out of here, put me someplace where we can either bring guys in that can help me so we build a strong enough team to win, or let me go.
Well, you remember, they went from 6 teams, original 6.
Yeah.
They went to 12 teams.
Yeah.
They would have 2 teams. The next one was Buffalo and Vancouver. Can you imagine Gilbert Pro going to Vancouver?
Yeah.
Allen goes to Buffalo. It's not the same thing. But it's the understanding. It's just they don't go deep enough. And what Scotty Bowman told me, he says, what there is in the NHL, that's many years ago, right? And Scotty is pretty smart. He said, all this about coaches, they recycle. It's every 3 years. Do you think those guys change? No. I'm in business. If I fire a manager, this is it. That's the chance he had.
Yeah.
But get away. I remember Pat Burns telling me that it was hysterical. He said, he just signed another 3 years. I don't know if it was Jersey or Boston. And he goes, oh, I'm lucky. I got 3 more years.
I know.
And they don't change. You know, and players sit there and they kind of turn to, what do you want me to do? The first thing when I turned pro in the NHL, listen to this. I'm playing junior hockey, right? Hey, you got away with a lot of things. And the coach said, well, now you're in the NHL. Now you should know what to do. What do you mean I should know what to do? There was no system. My center, the guys are bigger. How do you do that? So when you lose, you build that on it. Then it's surviving mode.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So now you're a kid. You're getting ready to go into the NHL draft. And it's Guy Lafleur and you, 1 and 2. Guy ends up on the Habs, wins 5 Stanley Cups because he gets dropped into, he's replacing Jean Beliveau. Jean Beliveau's moving out, retiring. Guy steps into that situation, steps into a situation with a team that's surrounded by unbelievable talent. You go 2nd overall to Detroit, a horrible team that had just lost Gordie Howe. He had just retired the year before that. And yet you still kick butt. You had 40 and 47 goal seasons in your short time with Detroit. You had the rookie scoring record at that point with 77 points. Do you ever wonder how much different your career could have been if you were in a different draft year or had been drafted to a team like the Montreal Canadiens or to a different team that had good management? Because let's be honest, the guy who was running the Red Wings back then was a guy who had done nothing but run college teams at that point.
And you're right about that. But actually, this has never crossed my mind. And
come on, Marcel, I had to, because you had to think if you would put me around some of these guys.
It never crossed my mind. You know why? You said it yourself. Because I could perform.
Yeah.
I could play. I had passion about it. And I had guys around it. I mean, my biggest disappointment when I turned pro, do you know what it was? The drinking and the smoking. It was a joke. I might have a beer and play junior, but not like that. We had so much time on our hands that the says, let's go for lunch. And the lunch turned to be dinner. And dinner is this 1 o'clock in the morning, and you get it the next day. This is true. And the way I look at it is we are athletes. We're supposed to play with the best of our ability. We've got to give ourselves a chance. And that's why I had an edge compared to other guys. I just say, hey, make the commitment. Most of the guys did not make any money. So, like guys live freaking paycheck to paycheck. I lived it. And it's pretty tough to perform compared to what it's been the last 20 years in sports. So you gotta have passion.
Yeah.
You gotta find a way. And I said, I'm going to find a way. You got to go up there. I remember we had meetings. Says, we got to get rid of the coach. He's no good. Then I had to stand up to say, you can't do that. Who says you're going to be here if they bring the next coach? You might be the next one to get traded. or they get rid of the manager, starts all over again.
What was it like for you as a young kid coming into that scenario like that, where, I mean, you had an edge. You always had an edge, and it made you who you are. I mean, we talked today about, you know, the smaller players in the league and Johnny Gaudreau. Oh, you could never have played in the league 30, 40 years ago. And you did. You were 5'8", 5'9", and you dominated. I mean, you dominated in the NHL during your peak. What was it about your personality? What was it like for you to step into a scenario and say, guys, I'm here because I do this. If you all jump on with me on this, we could win.
First of all, my dad was 6'1", big, strong man. And Gordie Howe, we first met. That's the summer he retired. He looked at my dad and he looked at me. He says, "What happened to you?" He said, Look at my mom. My English was not the greatest, but I knew what he meant.
Yeah.
My dad was bigger and strong, a real strong man. So looking back to what I see today, the size of a player meant nothing to me.
Yeah.
When I see photos or I see videos of myself, I say, how the heck did I do this? Because now I said, holy jeez, those guys are huge. But my idol was Jean Beliveau.
Yeah.
If you look at it,
Bill.
wow, there's a guy 6'4", this and that. I love the way he handled the puck, how he did things. It was a lot of speed, but he had charisma. He was special.
He was my hero growing up.
Oh, he was, oh yeah. But you know what? I changed real quick. I said, no, he's not the guy that I got to watch. I got to watch Cornway. I got to watch Henry Richard.
Yeah.
All the smaller, Davey Keon, Stan Mikita.
Yeah.
How they're lasting in his career. And I was more physical than they were. Had a lot to do with my dad and his strength, my legs. But I had no fear.
Yeah. I
had a fear when I hear people said, the teacher says, "You're chicken if you don't go first in the quarter. You're chicken." I hear that's a chicken. Who's chicken? I said, I tell the kids, teach the team, I said, well, tell the parents, says, no, it's not true. You don't have to be the first guy to go in the corner. You go right behind him and you take the puck out.
Take the puck.
You take that puck out. If I play against Zeno Chara, am I stupid? If he crushes me, it's over. But see the changes?
Yeah, for sure.
Circle, how you circle. I'll make you an example. I don't want to get lost in the interview, but I'll tell you one player I watched, Gallagher. I watched him play in Vancouver, and he was playing with Lucic. They had a really good team, and I watched him. I think he was just in your face. He just popped. And when I saw him turn pro, I said, nobody's teaching him. And then he would circle, and he's in front of the net, because the goalies now don't bother you. He would not position himself to me for the same size, how I did it, to not getting hit and get hurt. And he has taken a beating.
Yeah, he has.
That he could have salvaged that by circling, how to push the defenseman, make sure that you get your eye on the puck on the defenseman, and then you move in. Because once you move in and the puck is coming, if you get hit, it doesn't hurt, especially if you score.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get hit, then you let the defenseman put the puck on the net.
The pain doesn't last as long.
So that's the difference of the way it is, you know.
Yeah.
So,
we're in conversation with Hockey Hall of Famer, hockey legend Marcel Dionne, one of the greatest of all time, voted one of the top 100 players of all time, 6th on the all-time goal scoring list. So Marcel, after a few rough years, 4 rough years in Detroit, by the way, just 4 years in, Gordie Howe's best scoring record for the Red Wings in his 25 seasons there was 109 points. In your 4th year, you had 121 and destroyed his franchise record, just to kind of give people a perspective of what kind of scorer you were. Other teams started looking and say, you know, we've got a strong team here. We need a Marcel Dionne to come in here and help score some goals. It was the LA Kings. They had a strong team, good talent, good balance, good opportunity. but they couldn't score goals. So they go out and they start talking to you and your agent about possibly coming there, which leads to, at that point, the single biggest contract in NHL history. Walk me through that transition from the Red Wings to the LA Kings and what that whole process was like for you.
That was very simple. The WHA came in 1972, right? So I was drafted by Ottawa or something like that. I have no interest whatsoever, right?
Yeah. It wasn't the NHL.
Yeah, but money was an issue because you got to look back. If Paul doesn't go there, if Shevers doesn't go there, and a lot of these guys don't go there.
Leverage.
But you talk about my contract, suddenly it gave a boost to a lot of players because the NHL, it was a war, right? Between Quebec. So for me, there was an opportunity, and Mickey Redmond is the one that he was a very good friend. And I had agreed on a contract at $175,000 a year. I'm rich. 5 years, and what am I going to do, right?
Yeah.
And I played at 50, 75, 100, one and a quarter. My dad, in 1972, was making at work $3,500 a year.
Yeah.
When he first saw my paycheck, it was $3,500. I showed him, Dad, look at this. He says, geez, you make this in 1 month what I make in 1 year, See the common sense, you know what I'm saying to you?
For sure.
So when I agreed to that, Mickey was scoring 50 goals. He got a contract at $200,000. He said, Marcel, you can make more money than that. And I had somebody that represented me, and it was something. I said, Mickey, I'm happy. You make your 200, I make my 175. What happens, there was a technical problem with my contract. And they said, that was Eagleson, the agent at the time.
Alan Eagleson, yeah.
Why don't you find out your worth? If they wanted me, they should have never said that. And when they said that, I'm a stubborn guy this way. That was the end. That's why Jack came in with this contract, $300,000 a year. But I did go to Edmonton, and I was offered $250,000, the biggest contract of all sport, $250,000. The only reason they traded me, it's just that they would have lost me and got nothing in return if I went to Edmonton. Which, thank God, because Wayne got to play there.
Yeah. Exactly.
So anyway, that was the thing. And the sad part, my biggest critics, there were a lot of players that couldn't believe that. I knew Bobby Clark. I mean, I said to Billy Barber, Reg Lee, says, guys, there is that kind of money. That's what happened. He says, we cannot make any more than Bernie Perrott and Bobby Clark.
Because that was the Flyers policy. They just said, here's what Clark is. You can't get any more money.
You can ask these guys. I said, what? When I went to Los Angeles, suddenly everybody's salary got bumped up. Yeah. I was making 15, I was making 80,000.
Yeah.
The cost of living is a lot higher.
Yeah.
But for me, the critics, when I first went back to Montreal, the Montreal newspaper, they ripped me apart because Guy Lafleur, good friend of mine, signed. It was my first year. I signed a 1-year contract. Have you heard this?
No.
Had a good year. I signed 3 years.
Because you believed in yourself.
What's Guy Lafleur? And that's what they've done to him. That's what my friend was not a businessman. He didn't catch on to this.
Yeah.
He was the people, right?
Yeah.
So he signed a 3-year contract. I signed 1. And these years, I said, well, he didn't. His stats were good. I look at it. I said, give him a chance. They got a bigger lineup, right?
Yeah.
But his 4th year, watch this. I signed for 1.5. He signs a 10-year deal at $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
Who were those people?
Yeah.
Tell Steve Schott, Larry Robinson, guys, there's that kind of money. Here's the answer. We win Stanley Cups. I said, you think I don't want to win a Stanley Cup? The average of a player is 5 years. If I what do I have?
You got to take care of your family.
I figured that real quick.
Yeah.
18, 19,000 people, that's a late the money, right? It's not there. So going to LA, different thing. It was a pit stop for 12 years. And
it worked out real well, though. You had that 3-year gap.
Yes.
I think it was 78 to 81, where you had 170 goals, 402 points over 3 seasons. That makes an NHL career, Marcel.
Yeah. I love to play. And the guys that played with me, I know they did.
Yeah.
I was quiet, but I was very, very demanding. And that I regret. Some guys, I saw more talent, but there was other issues, and I hated that. I said, let's perform. Things will turn around. We got to overcome that. And it's just like, take Colorado right now, right? After you win the Stanley Cup, and I read the article this morning that they have slipped. They got a lot of injuries. But in the years I played, teams were in command. Montreal won 4, Philly 2, the Islanders 4, Edmonton comes back with 4 or 5. Boston Bruins prior to that. These teams were in control. Now, it's 1 year at a time. And I look at them, oh my God, where they were. It's different. It's so demanding. It's crazy.
I want to ask you something, Marcel. We're in conversation with Hockey Hall of Famer, NHL legend, Marcel Dionne. This is the 7-Eleven
I can't believe you have no notes.
No.
About me.
Dude, I watched your game. Yeah, I watched your game forever. And that's like, you were one of my heroes.
They're very good questions. Okay.
So, but you just brought something up, which I'm kind of wrestling with. And I don't know how to handle this because you're a friend of mine. And I want to be politically sensitive about this. I get the sense, and I've never heard you talk like this before. I get the sense that it still hurts you, some of the things that people said about why you were moving teams or what you were doing and what your motivation was. Like, I don't understand that because I see what you did. You were a guy who was driven to succeed and to score and to play well and to take care of your family. And yet I'm getting the sense that it's still kind of eating away at you what some of the people were saying about you. Is that something you're still living with today?
Well, it's not so much what they said. It was just not, they were wrong. Yeah. The French Canadian, the press, was over the top. I said, that's not me. Oh, you guys in the la la land. You know what I mean? What you thought? I scored 2 hat tricks against Ken Dryden. 2. I mean, right? Didn't matter. I scored against all of them. All those goalies, true. Yeah. I thank them. They made me famous. There's not one. The resentment, it's not so much of that, but it started before the NHL. When I was in Quebec, I was 16 years old. We won the championship, Drummondville. The following year, I had to play in Quebec when I was at Montreal 15. What's that? 16 in Drummondville. We went. So now the St. Catharines Blackhawks. You
play the St. Catharines Blackhawks in the OHA.
Come and got me. What's this? From that point on, it went backward. What's this? So I go there. That's right. Yeah.
Well, because the Quebec media thought you turned your back on them. Is that where that started?
No, because when they came and got me, I says, it's impossible. They won't let me go. General manager, the owner, says, we'll make it happen. Okay. Thank God I had an uncle who was in the army, spoke English. I said, I went to see the Montreal Canadiens play. Junior Canadian the year before, I saw Gilbert Pro, just like Guy, we played against each other. Yeah. I was amazed. I said, 16,000 people. This is exciting. That's what I'm part of, right? But it was not so much to play with the Canadians. So the further away, the more things you do. So now they came and got me. I missed the first 6 or 7 games. I got my release. They moved my mother, to my sister and my brother. What's this? They got lost somewhere. They talk about Eric Lindros not want to go to Quebec. What's what happened? They took care of my mother for 4 months, and they had to come up with stories, right? That she was divorcing my dad. Like,
Oh my gosh.
I don't think it was, but my mom was happy. She loves hockey. That was the greatest thing for her.
Yeah.
So you build up. Then I would go back and play in Montreal, right? So that was against not Guy Lafleur, but Gilbert Pro, Rick Martin. And he was playing in Quebec. All along when I played my minor hockey, I played against he. We beat them. I won the junior B title, the midget, even the junior A, he was playing for Quebec. We beat them that year. For 2 years prior to that, he blossomed. Okay, you gotta get it. And he became the best player. Wow, this for 200 goals.
Yeah.
Me, when I walk in, I finished second in scoring. The great Rijan, a real good friend, won it. The next 2 years, I won the scoring title. My third year, I broke my collarbone. That was it. Ex-teammate of mine, Glenn Goldup,
Goldie.
Collarbone. What's this? The owner of the team took him out for dinner because they finally got rid of me, right? See you later. True story.
Wow.
Well, guess what? I came back.
Yep.
The stats. In those days, we only played 58 games. I didn't see some of those stats, right? And that's when I got drafted. My mom went back. My brother stayed with me. They paid all the expenses, and he played junior B for 3 years. Where do you hear that from today? Right? Yeah. There's a lot of sacrifice. My dad, my mom, and all that stuff. But Mike Bonello, I think it was Mike Bonello was the coach for the Marlboros. Here's what he said, you know. He said, well, Marcel Dionne will never be as good as Gilbert Pro in the NHL. And the guy that beat me for the award, because I finished second my first year there, I finished second again. They gave it to Gilbert Pro, the MVP, whatever. I didn't know about that. It was laughable, right? And I was happy for Gilbert. Played 4 years and with the Canadians, and so it was. Yeah. He was the most exciting player I've ever watched. Yeah. But he was a funny guy. And the third one, they gave it to Dave Garner. Great guy. Yep. Dave Garner. The people started to boo. They wanted me to give him the award with the Marlboros, right? Yeah. Marlboros were a favorite. We beat them 4 straight. And Bonello said, I will never have a great career as good. I says, fine. Then you can go back and say, now you know, for anybody that's involved with the Toronto Maple Leaf since 1967, they got a tough time to draft players.
No kidding. So we're chasing
that cup.
Yeah. So here's a year that stands out to me. And I think it kind of puts in perspective, because sometimes you're mentioning a lot of stories about a lot of players that maybe a big chunk of our audience doesn't know the names. So here's what you need to know, because you'll know this name. Our audience knows Wayne Gretzky. And at one point, Wayne Gretzky had 7 consecutive Art Ross Trophy wins. The one he didn't win at the beginning of that was the 1979-80 season. There was another guy who tied Wayne Gretzky with 137 points in the 79-80 season. That guy is our guest on the show right now. And you actually won the Art Ross that year because you had more goals than the great one, Wayne Gretzky, that year. 137 points and more goals. Was that the year of your career?
Not really. I tell you right thing. This one, again.
But come on, you knocked Gretzky off the Art Ross.
Yeah, but he did it. I had one game. He was 2 points up, right? Well, we got to play. It's against the Vancouver Canucks. So somebody called me I think it was Denver then. He says, well, Wayne, got 2 more points or something. What do you think of that? Well, you got to play the game. I didn't think about it. Like, long story short. And I was not aware of that. I got 2 assists in the first period. right? So when I get the second one of my teammates, defenseman Marcel, you won the scoring title. So what are you talking about? It's like, we were tied. Now, I didn't know there was a rule. I didn't know there was a rule that if there was a tie, whoever has more goals will win the scoring title. And this has happened in the NHL. Now I look at this, I said, well, it is what it is. Because I knew Wayne Gretzky was going to be the first player to get over 200 points. Yeah. I knew what it could do. I knew what the guys could do. This guy was beyond. Because I played in that division. I was there a lot. They were not 2-1 games or 3-1 games. They were 9-8.
Yeah.
And he went on to do this. I had 2 more goals. What's this? When I received my award in in Montreal then, it was just like, let's get it, and let's get out of it. If I didn't have to go, I would not have gone. Mm-hmm. Because, oh, well. So now you tell the kids or the parents that you say an assist is as good as a goal. That's what you want to say, right? So yeah. That many times. Open net, I would give it to somebody. Score, geez. I remember you in trouble. I gave it to him. He says, why? He says, what was the last time you scored a goal? Oh, geez, you're right. I said, nobody remembers, right? And that stays with you.
Yeah.
And that's to come back a question with Wayne. Funniest thing, we did the 50th anniversary of the LA Kings. Yep. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm there, Charlie Summer. They brought back a lot of guys, 50 years, right? 67. And it was really great. Wayne, he's right there. I'm away from Wayne and has a little cocktail. We all have a celebration. And I'm away. And he starts. He's a funny guy. He goes, hey, Marcel, get over here. Get away. Well, the guys like the older players that were there in 67. Wait, this is a great one. This is. He starts his speech. He says, well, thank God I got Rogie Vachon here, and he names all the guys, and he should be somebody special that represent the country. He's got the words. Then he goes and says, well, what about Marcel? It's incredible. Just what the career he's had at the Triple Crown, this and that. Out of nowhere, he turned towards me and says, by the way, gave me back the trophy you get from me. The scoring title.
That's great.
All the photos, one after another. He's walking away from the group. Everybody's laughing. And I said, hold it now. I said, you can't do this. So I said, well, go anyway. I said, I went in my pocket. I took my wallet. I says, how much do you want to get paid for what you do? You gotta have fun, eh?
You did have fun. I'll tell you what else you enjoyed too. And this again sends a tremendous message. We all know about the Hart Trophy, and you were a finalist for the Hart Trophy. I get that, but I gotta believe, as a hockey player, nothing means more than what your fellow players think of you. And in 1979 and in 1980, in back-to-back years, in the midst of Wayne's heyday, in the midst of some of the greatest hockey we've ever seen, 2 consecutive years, the players voted you as the Ted Lindsay Award winner. What did that mean to you that your peers said, not Wayne Gretzky, not these other guys, Marcel Dionne is the best player in the NHL today? Not once, but 2 years in a row.
That was special, because that's, again, the press. You can't believe everything, but I was tough with them, because ask me an intelligent question, I'll give you an intelligent answer. Not afraid of that. And but it was just, I was the new coming, right? And coming from your peers, it's huge. It's just huge. I was very grateful about that, and very thankful. And I'm one. Because here's what, I'll go reverse. Gordie Howe, when I was in Detroit, Red Berenson, famous Red Berenson, said to me, he said, Marcel, nobody will ever beat Gordie Howe's record. Guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what? There's one. If Mario would have still been healthy, it would have been two. So my point is, when you get it, you understand that. You have those individuals to be over the top. Do you know that Gordie Howe never scored 50 goals?
Yeah.
But he played 26 years.
And the most he ever had was 109 points, and you destroyed those numbers.
Yeah.
You destroyed those numbers.
Those are those times I saw what the Red Wings did to him, and that's another thing.
Yeah.
What I knew, Gordie Howe was on the ice. I'm sorry, I could tell you so many things. I don't have Alzheimer, but I'm right there. Here's what I'm going to tell you. This had a huge impact on me, huge impact. We're on the ice, we practice. Gordie was like hired as vice president or something with the Red Wings.
Yeah.
He was not really good at that, I guess. He's on the ice. He's on the ice. You think I'm watching what's going on that end? I'm watching when he's shooting on the goalie. He's this and that. True story. There was a phone near the bench. The phone rang. That to Gordie, you have to get off the ice. And my coach was Doug Barkley. That's this. That's my point from the interview. Who am I when the greatest all-time player, didn't think too much of him, get off the ice? That guy there would have said something to me. So you position you this way, you go that way, here's what's going to happen. That's what they did to that man. And guess what? At that point, I knew what the NHL was all about.
Yeah.
You don't take care of yourself, that's it.
Yeah, no one takes care of it.
What's this? I played 18 years. 18 years, right? One promise I made was very simple. I knew I was never going to come back in the game. I had no interest. My promise, I would never work for somebody. Never.
Yeah.
71 years old, I never did.
Yeah.
It's my cup.
Yeah.
I fire people, not really. I love them all.
You're a good businessman.
And that's what it is. The game for me brought me everything I got. The fans are the ones I stayed with. They're the ones that made me rich. Not the team. Oh, the name is great. But I do things that I don't want to be part of. I don't need it.
You're an interesting radical. We're in conversation with Marcel Dionne, Hockey Hall of Fame legend, sixth on the all-time goal scoring list, 7-11 overtime podcast. I'm your host, Gino Reda. You're an individual. You've gone against the grain numerous times. You've got an interesting relationship with Russian hockey. You've long time been a friend of Tretiak. You've gone back after the Canada Cups, the World Cups, 6 or 7 times to Russia. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with Russia.
From what the experience in 1972, that was the thing for me that changed my thinking forever, ever. Witness where we are today, Gino, where we are today. I'm not a politician, but let me tell you, I know a lot.
Yeah.
It's about people. And when I saw that to those, I knew those players, those guys are incredible. The scouting reports were wrong. But then I look, where are we? Russia. What's this? This is not a free country. I saw people that makes no sense.
Yeah.
It seemed the 2,500 fans that were there that they realize where we come from. This became more than a game. If Paul Henderson does not score that goal, like Phil said on his meeting in Vancouver when he spoke on the ice, a lot of us, it probably wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah.
But the fact that it did happen, there was a reason for all those fans kissing the ground, being happy. I met a lot after that. But these guys were great. They didn't have that freedom. They went back in the army. They were restricted, talented. Oh my God. Here's our press. These guys don't smoke. These guys don't drink. They were wrong. They smoked like chimneys, and he drank not beer. He drank the vodka.
Vodka.
And you learn from that. And then you watch them over the years. And I go back with books. I know who the names are. And I said, are you kidding me? This was a war. And the young people that probably watch this, it's incredible. And again, I didn't live that in a locker room by itself.
Yeah.
One thing, when I went back at the training camp in Detroit, everything, because I practiced so much, was slow motion, you know. It was slow motion. I realized I can be better because I was with practicing some of the best players.
Yeah.
What's this? They were not stars. But for that series, what's this? G.P. Parise, his best hockey ever.
Yeah.
Gary Bergman, his best hockey ever. Ron Ellis, Paul Henderson, Bobby Clark. It was his start in the career. I mean, you can go on and say it was an incredible thing to see. You don't have to be a superstar. You just put in and do the job, and suddenly this is your best hockey ever. And matter of fact, if nobody believes me, let's go back with the Montreal Canadiens when they went all the way. Where's the team?
Yeah.
All those players. It's the moment, right? Yeah. How you beat everybody and play that well? And everybody says, oh my God, what next year this and that? You know what I said? Most of those players have played a career season right there. They were right at the moment, you know. This is unbelievable. And what they does different, the biggest break for Team Canada, I witnessed it. It's when we went to Sweden. The team, there was no press. Suddenly, I saw it evolve. And then the wives came to Russia. It was a totally different atmosphere.
Yeah.
We could have won the 4 games. We lost the first one, and we were leading.
Yeah.
We did 1 point. 1 point. If it's not crazy, and you were just, what, were you 12 years old then? How old were you?
I was 12. Good for you. Good math.
That's what's the greatest moment of all time. I know when Sidney Crosby scored the winning goal for
in 2010.
Says, the greatest goal. I said, no, you're not. You don't understand. And if Paul doesn't sign it, I mean, there's a story for him jumping up.
It changes history.
It's an incredible story.
Yeah. You change history, my friend. I mean, I talked about your 8 100-point seasons. For a little perspective, that's third on the most all-time 100-point seasons. Only Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux had more 100-point seasons than you did. You're a legend. I mean, sometimes we use the word legend way too easily. As we wrap things up, I want to harken back on a tremendous moment. Yeah, you didn't get to win a Stanley Cup. Neither did Joe Thornton. Neither did Roberto Luongo. Neither did the Sedin twins. Neither did Jerome McGinley. No, that didn't happen. 1990, the LA Kings. Both you and Wayne had a tremendous relationship in that you were amongst the best of all time. You both brought hockey to LA. You brought hockey to LA before Wayne brought hockey to LA. Completely changed the game there. They retire your jersey in 1990, obviously very emotional for you. In 2012, they win the Stanley Cup. They ask you to be part of the banner raising because you helped elevate that organization. Then in 2014, they win again. And they present you with a Stanley Cup ring because you were part of building the organization to the point where they could win the Stanley Cup. What did that mean to you?
Well, that was pretty cool. That was really cool as well. Very well kept secret. My wife didn't know. One of the players' wife called. She says, what size do you think Marcel the ring wears or something? And she didn't pay attention to that. Says, well, they probably got and I didn't have anything. I think when I got that, I said, hey, 30, 40 years from now, if I show that ring, the people will say, oh, Marcel, I remember that year. You had an incredible series when you guys won the Stanley Cup. People forget. Yeah. But it was really nice. They gave one to Rogie Vachon. We're pretty good friends. But he won three. Yeah. Three Stanley Cups. And at one time, they didn't give any rings either. Right? Yeah. It's
a recent tradition.
What it did for me, especially for business, they want to see that. They want to see that, so that's okay. Where's the ring? Okay, I'll go back and get it. It's at the house or something. And that's it. And took a shot of it and sent it to one of my sisters who went to my mother. Because my young brother won the Stanley Cup with the Montreal Canadiens. And this is a true story. And when my dad passed away, my brother just he put the ring, right? He was sitting there and all that stuff. And then people come in and, geez, have a look at it. Mr. Dionne's got it and so on. So when it came time to close the coffin, the insurance guy that's been a friend of mine, the whole family, he said, Marcel, you got to cancel the policy on this ring. Hold it. This is true story. He said, my dad's not going down with this. Wait. Yeah. The guy from the funeral home took the ring out, gave it back to my brother. Yeah. You had fun at it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
My dad, he didn't really care about that. About the game, he just didn't want to see get hurt. But when my young brother won the cup, I went home and I knew there was going to be a riot. We stayed in Longueuil till my wife watched this. There's going to be a riot. I must have been the only guy that knew. They were not ready for it. So I got home, get up early in the morning, 10 o'clock. My dad's a big guy. So I got out of the car. He hugged me. I never liked that. I mean, I was just figuring the other. He says, we won the cup.
Oh, nice.
Couple tears. That's what it meant. Everybody thinks it's you, but it's the people, my families, my friends. When my young brother won it, I mean, they battled over this. When they talk about the Stanley Cup, the ultimate, just that we're going to watch Sunday for the Super Bowl, it's more than having this. It's, you know what I'm saying? And then you win. I just lost you. Then you win. Yeah. Then, I don't know why I lost you.
I got you.
Okay, so then you got to do it again.
Yeah.
You got to do it again.
Marcel, I got to tell you, my friend, it has been wonderful catching up with you. You're a great storyteller. It's great reliving the moments, the wonderful moments. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it as hockey fans watching your career, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking these few minutes to share your stories. Thank you so much.
The best. I like to talk, but you were really right on when other writers or whatever it is, they don't do their homework like you did. I'm really proud that I know you're a friend. I've watched it over the years. You stayed as a professional. You speak as a professional. You're not eccentric. You do it right, and it's fun to watch you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marcel. I'm so glad you're doing so well health-wise. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Sixth on the NHL's all-time goal-scoring list, Hockey Hall of Famer, top 100 player of all time, Marcel Dionne. The Overtime Podcast is proudly presented by 7-Eleven. Before leaving the rink, order your favorite Slurpee, fresh 100% premium Arabica coffee, hot from the oven pizza and wings, a pint of ice cream, or even a carton of milk, eggs, and a loaf of bread from the 7NOW app, and Team 7-Eleven will have your order ready for pickup 24/7. Hey, if you missed any parts of the show, don't worry. Visit our website at overtimepodcast.ca, where you can both listen and subscribe to future shows. 7-Eleven's Overtime Podcast can be found on the iHeartRadio app, Spotify, iTunes Podcast, or any of your favorite podcast platforms. Until next week, I'm Gino Retta, saying so long, hockey fans, and thanks for joining us on the 7-Eleven Overtime Podcast.